Vols are back.
Yeah, they had us the first half, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, could be Wayne!
I think I got my swagger back. Oh!
I love it, baby!
Them orange britches. Something about them orange britches.
Tennessee wins! By Tennessee, Jawan Jennings. Jennings makes the catch.
Ball hit high in the air into right field. Going back is Sayre. And Tennessee can say hello win column. A grand slam in the bottom of the ninth. You can't draw it up any better.
We just won a basketball game, and we're very happy right now.
I made up my mind. I don't expect to ever look back. I'm going to stay at the University of Tennessee.
I think you're muted.
Landon.
Good.
You just go, and you go.
Ready to do and welcome into more important issues. I can hear you. I think you're good.
Oh, I thought you. Okay.
Now I can hear you.
I was just trying to get you to go.
We're good.
Reddit did to do. Welcome into more important issues. It is Sunday, November 20th. I thought you were going to go again. What a start to the show. That sounds all too familiar. Very just makes sense for what's happened this week and very on brand. I did try to get out of doing the show just now, hoping maybe my microphone wouldn't work and we could just hang it up and go home. But Landon decided to make it happen. So credit to him or screw him. I don't know what to say, but man, what a rough night. Just not fun.
When it rains, it pours, though, right?
Yeah, I didn't expect that, and I'll eat my words. Everything I said, I'll start it off. Spencer Rattler, I don't know if he necessarily, proved us wrong, like as a all around his body of work, but man, did he take it to what I said. So credit to him. I mean, what a freaking night. That's one of the best performances in college football all year.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, didn't hardly miss anything. Now, granted, Tennessee helped him out a lot. Of just not covering up anything. I mean, it was just like it was just shocking from the get-go. From their opening touchdown, it was just like, what was that? And then, we scored, and then we kind of went back and forth for a little bit, and then we punted, and then it just spiraled. It was 31-35 in the third quarter, but I mean that they couldn't get a stop. I think they're 8 for 11 on third down. They're 2 for 2 on fourth down. So that means Tennessee's defense got off the field one time last night, once.
Yeah, 35 first downs. I mean, by South Carolina, obviously, just dominated. I mean, the game plan's out. I mean, and that's like this isn't South Carolina, like the South Carolina that's played all year. It was a different South Carolina Tennessee saw last night. And if you're a Gamecock, it was the right South Carolina. I'm kind of interested to see what they do down at Clemson next weekend. If they have that kind of performance, they will do something very similar. Now, Clemson's got a better defense than Tennessee, so it won't be as easy. But you couldn't convince me that South Carolina team was 6-3 at that point. I would have assumed if they had lost 3 games, it was to Georgia, LSU, Alabama, someone like that. Yeah. Not Missouri for sure, and then not getting pretty much blanked outside of a fake punt at Florida, and then a pretty good thrashing from Arkansas too. That was a different team, and then we're talking about them narrowly escaping A&M at home too.
Yeah, you just gotta know, like, you're getting everybody's best shot when you have that, single digit besides you. And it just looked like Tennessee just did not.
I was about to say everyone but Eli Drinkwitz. But I mean, I guess in the first half, they did try their best.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I just don't get it. I don't know what exactly happened. You get that performance, that defensive performance against Kentucky, and then you just
Yeah.
let a team just bury you. I mean, there was just no in the secondary. There's no sense of urgency. You got, and I'm not trying to throw kids under the bus, but let's just be honest. It's asinine when you give up a 12-yard gain and a first down, and then you go get in the DB's face. Get your ass back and get the call and make a freaking play. You haven't made a single play all year long. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that
There's
was
nothing to be said to anybody.
That was embarrassing. I mean, you're already getting blown out at that point. Gage, like you said, just gave up another first down. You should be wanting to get out of there, not stand on South Carolina's sideline.
Yeah.
I mean, it was.
I mean, you should be like chomping at the bit for the next play, and you're just sitting back there running your mouth. I mean, what do you have to say to somebody that just beat you?
Yeah, I really don't know how that comes off okay.
I mean, I hope
apparently no one's happy about it. So
yeah, I hope people. I hope he's learned from that, and next game maybe he has a better game. I don't know, but that was one of the most embarrassing things about last night was not only your the play of the secondary, but you just being a total idiot out there.
Yeah, I mean, definitely one of the most embarrassing parts of it. I mean, for him, he's lucky Tennessee got absolutely torched, or that would be the most embarrassing part. But obviously, that's kind of why it's embarrassing. So it's hard. I mean, it's truly insane that happened the way it happened. Truly insane.
I mean, I can't believe it. I mean, we're talking about Florida, who they did not score an offensive touchdown to get them 9 offensive touchdowns. And it was conversion after conversion. We gave up a 3rd and 20.
This defense baffled. That also was the worst coach game Tim Banks has ever had, by the way. I do need to say that. I kind of said he's on a week-by-week basis. I was hoping they would keep improving. That was awful. I mean, it was pitiful.
And I hate calling for people's jobs. And I know people like Willie Martinez, but he has showed me absolutely nothing this year.
Yeah, he's been disappointing too, because you always known there's been question marks around him, but he's also done well with a handful of players too. So I don't know. I mean, I guess they're just obviously the players 90% of that battle, but someone's coaching them. I don't know.
I mean, it definitely shows Tennessee still has a ton of depth issues,
and it's obviously some coaching too, because the simple thing to say is, well, it should be a good thing for recruits to see. No. Who are those recruits getting coached by? Why would you want, I'm speaking defensive back, why would you want to come to Tennessee? Honestly. Playing time's the only answer, but you're not going to get it if you're not getting better.
Well, and here's the thing. They're not it doesn't look like they're willing to play somebody else. I've talked about the safeties all year long. They're not doing it.
There's obviously not a ton of growth in that position. Obviously.
Yeah, because, I mean, they refuse to play somebody else.
There's people
McCullough,
we're taking steps back. We're taking steps back.
I like them as players. I appreciate them. They stuck it out through hard times.
They're struggling.
You haven't made enough plays in 4 years. Have you made one play that really mattered? Have you made one?
Yeah, during that Alabama game, I kept saying to the DBs, obviously they couldn't hear me, that just make one play and you will never buy a drink in Knoxville the rest of your life. One play right here. It never came up. And it's just, like you said, the whole situation's frustrating. And I'm not talking that, I don't hate these guys. I don't dislike them. But the play has been atrocious against Missouri. It was real ugly, especially in the first half. It's been bad all year. And then last night was just, I don't know what to say about last night too. And it's not just the defensive backs. It's not just the defense. It's not just the coaching staff. It was a pitiful performance. And the worst part about it is you had everything to play for. Everything to play for.
Yep.
The college football playoff was on the horizon.
Yeah,
It was
and that
sight is an unfair word to say. You were pretty much a mortal lock-in because you knew Michigan or Ohio State was losing. You saw Michigan, they're going to get dock points for that win against Illinois when it comes time to decide who's in, Tennessee or Michigan. It's insane to me. There can never, if the excuse is the players weren't ready to play or they weren't fired up, how? Primetime game, sold out stadium. Credit to South Carolina too. I've seen it on TV, but the last time I was there, bad season, bad Tennessee team, didn't line up, not a great environment. This year, phenomenal environment. And if you're a college football player, I know it's hard to play in those environments, but that's where you want to win. That's where you want to go play. Because you know why it was a crazy environment? Because number 5, 8-1, or 9-1, excuse me, Tennessee team was coming to town on ESPN. You got to enjoy those moments. And we fell flat on our face.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't give them a chance to get out of the game. You know, you kept that crowd in it the entire time because you refused to make a stop. I mean,
Yeah.
I know the pressure. You know, Tennessee didn't get a lot of pressure, but they were getting the ball out fast, but it didn't matter. Like, it didn't matter. Like, he could throw it up and they would still catch it. Like, somebody was always open.
And there were times that he wasn't getting out. He had time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like he had a bunch of pressures. They got him to the ground one time.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting it out fast. Like,
yeah,
and he does a good job, but they had their chances to get him on the ground and they could not.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
Yes, they did. It was clear what part of their game plan was, but he was very comfortable moving around when he had to. Yeah, it wasn't the whole game, but you didn't take advantage of the times that your DBs actually did something or the route just wasn't, whatever it was, and you didn't make the plays. It was atrocious.
I don't know what coverages we play, but like, why are corners always bailing? Like, they just bail every single time. Like, that's just it's an easy 5-yard gain. If you just sit there and throw it, they bail every single time.
And still got torched.
If your shoulders are toward the opposite sideline, you're a terrible DB. Terrible.
You're just backpedaling the whole game.
Yeah. I
Real
mean,
good backpedaler.
Yeah.
I mean, and then
I don't understand. And the offense didn't play great either.
No, and that's part of it, but I think it's clear where the problems arise. They scored 38 points, and they never had great field position.
Yeah, I think the main thing, I have never dreamt in my life that Tennessee would score 38 points and still lose by 20. That should never happen.
We always talk about getting just new lows. That is a low I have not even considered. Which that's not saying like Tennessee season's over or the season's for nothing. Don't take that the wrong way. I just mean Tennessee always, like, we're not at the bottom, but in terms of events, that's an incredible just Tennessee thing to do.
Oh yeah,
because I'm still, everything I'm mad about for this Saturday this past Saturday has nothing to do with the season as a whole. Absolutely nothing.
It's still a success. It just sucks that, like you said, the most frustrating part is exactly what you said. You had everything in front of you, and you fell flat on your face.
And it really sucks, too, because what they've done to this point is incredible, or had done to that point. Again, not diminishing what they have done, but I will say, not that the success isn't awesome and what this could do for the program in the future, but as far as a single season looking at it, that loss is it has to hurt so bad, and it's going to hurt for a long time because you did take away a big season, an opportunity for literally for a Tennessee fan, a once in a lifetime.
Yeah, I mean it would be program changing for sure. I mean, like, you can continue to build on this, but being in the playoff, like Michigan last year, them just being in the conversation, like, solidified themselves as a top tier program.
Yeah. And so that all stinks. And you knew you weren't going to be in Atlanta. You knew that wasn't going to happen. Although I didn't watch that game, but 16-6, I mean, you could technically say, well, they would have had the head-to-head. Never mind. They would have taken another.
Yeah, they'd have to lose.
Or that's it. They play.
Yeah.
They play Georgia Tech next week.
Yeah.
So yeah, you knew you were going to be missing out on the SEC championship. That stinks. That's a championship you'd like to win. That's a big deal. And then you were probably going to be in the college football playoff. And you missed it, and it sucks.
And there was so much orange there last night.
I wondered. So, like, where I was sitting, you couldn't really see around the stadium because of
Yeah,
that
I mean
overhang.
the upper decks were pretty full of orange.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
They traveled well. We traveled well. Excuse me.
Yeah.
It was like I said, a phenomenal environment, and some of that credit goes to Tennessee fans. If you go, I watched some of the game again because I enjoy misery. The opening was pretty cool. They were getting ready to play Sandstorm, and all you could hear was Rocky Top, and it was credit to the pep band. It was so loud.
Yeah.
It was awesome. We get a few wins last night, I guess. Not the ones that matter, but wins, Landon.
Yeah. And then, like I said earlier, when it rains, it pours, and you get the news today that Hendon Hooker is done for the season. I mean, what a career he's had at Tennessee.
Yeah.
I don't really know exactly what he did. He was pretty decent at Virginia Tech, kind of in and out of the starting lineup. But, I mean, when he got the nod to go in for Joe Milton, when Joe Milton got hurt against Pitt last year, I mean, that was – it completely changed the outlook of Tennessee football for everybody.
Absolutely. And, I mean, no one, except maybe Hendon and his family, expected that. And he wasn't – I mean, what's even kind of crazier about the whole story is he wasn't recruited by Josh Heupel, at least not to Tennessee by Josh Heupel. He wasn't the starter day one, and he came to Tennessee at a time when there was a mass exodus, like just insane. Recruits didn't really want to come to Tennessee anymore. After Jeremy Pruitt was fired, guys were leaving, big name guys that had, again, I think the biggest way to measure just how much a fan base loves you is what you make in NIL. And a few of the guys that left would have made so much money in NIL. Mm-hmm. So those type guys were leaving, and Hendon still came. And after he didn't win the starting job, stayed with it and got to this point, number one ranked for a week, beat Alabama for the first time in 15 years. In that same season, beat Florida. Just an absolute, and had even without last night's win and missing the playoff, even without that, had a chance to really put a bow on a bowl game, big time stage, on an incredible senior year, an incredible season at Tennessee, and just an unfortunate injury. And I think the worst part about the injury is completely non-contact, not making a weird move.
And the game was kind of over.
Yeah. And then also, unfortunately, fumbles on the play. I mean, just the worst case scenario. That field is garbage. Absolutely garbage. And I love the people like, Hendon should sue. I don't know how that works. Hendon should sue. Some people, fine them. I'm like, I don't know how you handle it, but South Carolina should be absolutely embarrassed at the shape their field's in. Embarrassed. And Tennessee gets crap for it all the time. And there were a stretch where there were some freak injuries, and the field did look like it was struggling, but that might be the worst field I've ever seen at that level.
Yeah, it's
just dirt. Maybe
it's just dirt,
sand. I mean,
yeah.
Shoot, we were in Folly Beach yesterday. Yeah, it was that was a pitiful field. There were a couple pitiful performances. That Snapchat Jesse posted of that dude singing. Is a song called "To Thee"? They're whatever.
Yeah, something like that.
It was terrible live. I didn't realize how bad it was till I watched Jesse's recording.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I mean, who was that? I'm gonna feel really bad. It was probably like a Make-A-Wish guy, but that was terrible though. That was not good at all.
Yeah.
Bad night all around, man. Good time before the game. I had a great dinner or lunch, I guess, but.
I mean, it was a fantastic time. The whole trip in general was great for me until, obviously the game. Also, the game was the only damper in the whole weekend.
To avoid more talking about the game, and there's a lot I complain about, I'll try to keep it a little happy. The South Carolina tailgating scene is freaking awesome.
It is cool.
They have so many cool spots. It's very cool.
It's flat, and it's all around the stadium. Like, it's not like...
Yeah. Which does kind of stink. Like, on-campus stadiums are cool, but that environment and they take care of the fans around there. that parking lot we were in, they had that little pavilion
Yeah.
and with
Just
TVs and bathrooms, and I saw several of those, some with live bands in them. So just an incredible tailgating spot.
Yeah. Like going back to Hendon Hooker a little bit, I'll never
Hendon Hooker. I was like, I don't want to talk about the game. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. I'll never forget when I was in Myrtle Beach. It was the summer, like going into that first season of Joe Milton, Hendon Hooker, or Josh Heupel's first season, and a Virginia Tech fan. It was after that spring game where Hendon Hooker looked god awful, and a guy came up to me and he was like, "Hey, are you a Tennessee fan?" I was wearing a Tennessee shirt. I'm like, "Yeah," and he was like, "I'm a Virginia Tech fan, so we really hated to see Hendon Hooker go." And he's like, "But I want you to know this." He's like, "I don't care who is on Tennessee's roster, Hendon Hooker is the best quarterback on that roster." And I was like, yeah, cool. And just kind of laughed it off. I was thinking, I was like, this guy's a moron. I mean, did he not look at that spring game? And it turns out, he was completely right.
Yeah, we got to find that guy.
Yeah.
Couldn't
tell you what he looked like, but I vividly remember exactly what he said to me, and it was just crazy to see kind of how it played out. And good on Hendon Hooker. I mean, he's handled every bit of success and even even scrutiny, criticism, with class. I mean, he's handled himself on and off the field just like a pro, and I can't wait to see kind of what his career has left in store for him. Obviously, it's not going to be with Tennessee anymore.
Yeah.
And it is Joe Milton time.
But we can't do medical red shirt too late.
Yeah, I think the 4 games are up.
I think Tennessee. We talked about this, and
we're gonna have Brandon Whedon in our roster.
Well, we talked about it with basketball. I think every team should be allowed one just guy, not a student. Just all he had to do was play at Tennessee, and he couldn't have played in the NFL yet. I think every team should get one. So we'll move that to football as well.
I like that. Yeah.
I think we should do that.
But I mean, you hate looking at next year because you do have a lot still in front of you. You got Vandy, who's playing a lot better.
That win becomes even...
again, like it's the most Tennessee thing. We get South Carolina on their best night. We're probably going to get Vandy on their best night. They're playing a lot better. Their quarterback can run, can make some throws. They stormed the field last week very slowly. But it was a storm. Did South Carolina end up storming? Did they?
Yes,
not?
they did.
Okay, good for them.
They did.
I mean, I would have done it too.
No, and I don't know why people like to complain. It is a compliment. I mean, that you don't storm for bad teams.
Right.
And the overrated stuff always cracks me up because you don't want to beat an overrated team. That's the one that makes me laugh. But I get the sentiments. It's trash talk, but it's not funny, and it doesn't make sense. But storming's an honor, and as a college football fan, just in general, you love storming. Obviously, you're really sad when it happens to you, but in like 24 more hours, I'll at least be like, hey, at least they wanted to win that one really, really bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I know you don't want to go away from the game, or you want to go away from the game. The offense for me was so strange last night because we couldn't hit on the deep balls. And so it's like, if we don't, what else do we have? And it just seemed like it was a struggle. And maybe part of that is just because the defense isn't getting a stop. So what's the point?
Right.
The pressure, it seemed like it just kept building anyway. But it was just, they went that too high and safety and kind of kept everything in front of them. And I don't know why we abandoned the run game immediately. I mean, we looked so good on that first drive. Jabari Small looked good. And
I was going to say, we talked about Rattler proving us wrong. I think Jabari Small might have heard your comments about how that wiggle's just not there. And first drive of the game just makes the guy look stupid.
And then he
did it. He did it, Landon. You got to eat your words.
I did. And then a little bit later, he went through the line of scrimmage and tripped over an offensive lineman. So, I don't know. It just seemed like very forced. You scored 38 points. It's hard to like complain about offense when you score that many, but a team that was averaging so many and a team that, you scored 66, held South Carolina to 10 points. I just think like it should have been more.
Yeah.
And maybe part of it just was the defense just wasn't helping you out. So it's hard to, have that confidence. But I don't know. Cedric Tillman just doesn't look like himself.
No,
I don't
I'm
think
sure,
he played bad, but it just doesn't seem like he's back to that same Cedric before that injury.
I think it looks like injury as far as him not looking at himself. It all makes sense because still makes two incredible not Tillman like touchdown catches.
Yeah, I'm more kind of talking about the deep balls. Like
Yeah. I think he doesn't look as fast, doesn't look as confident sometimes. I think it's all like it makes sense that he looks like that because he had an injury. If he hadn't had the injury, he looks like that. You're wondering why, but that's things that usually when you're working back, hard to build back up.
Yeah. So Joe Milton time.
Joe Milton time. And someone asked,
are you feeling okay about it, or how are we feeling?
Yeah, I feel fine, and I don't know Vanderbilt's built up quite a head of steam these last few weeks. But as far as where I think Tennessee will struggle, it's on the defensive side of the ball. I'm not trying to go into too much next week. But I'm not concerned with the offense.
Okay.
I'm not concerned with that side of the ball. So what we've seen from him to this point, I am excited. I know we talked about it. When's he gonna? Is he gonna have to play meaningful snaps? There's always one play away from doing it. Always. He's looked good in the non-meaningful snaps. So I'm really interested to see it. I think he looks a lot better. He looks a lot more confident than he did last year in the right ways, not standing in the pocket and pointing confident. Looks like he's running the ball better, more confidence. So, yeah, I'm excited. It stinks the way it's come about, but it is part of the game. And,
it's also going to help you out a little bit next year as well.
Yeah. And he didn't look phenomenal last night. Not that he got a ton of chances, but it's also a little bit more difficult when you talk about where you came at that point in the game. You're forcing stuff. You are trying to make plays because of where you're at in the game. So I'm very interested to see him get from the start next week and see you'll find out exactly how much he's improved.
Yeah, and I think you'll learn a lot from this team, how they respond. Because, when Hendon went down, a lot of those guys, were down, and a lot of that offensive lineman was, taking their helmets off and, had their palm in their face in their palm. So, that's understandable. You lose your starting quarterback, a guy that you've, played with for years now. But, can you rally around Joe Milton and give him that same comfortability that you did with Hendon Hooker?
Yeah, and you talk about seeing how the team responds. I think that is also a frustrating aspect of this game that I haven't said yet. They respond great after the Georgia loss. And the Georgia loss was a lot like this one. Not that Georgia didn't play good and earn it. They absolutely did, but it is a game that Tennessee did not play their best. And I would argue it was some of the worst.
Yep.
And it's frustrating, but sometimes it happens. Okay, you bounce back after that week and we're good. We're back to normal. I don't get how you have a week like this after just 2 weeks ago, this happening at Georgia. I don't understand it. You've got to and that's what separates good teams from great teams. And I'm not saying Tennessee's not had a fantastic season. They are obviously a good team, but having the mindset of going in and taking care of business is a tough mindset to have. I know it's 7 p.m. away night game. It's a tough time to play, but with everything in front of you, you gotta move on past that Georgia loss. And after last night, it doesn't look like you did because you look like that same team. And that's what the great teams can do. They make mistakes and move past them. Tennessee, they couldn't do that. And it's very frustrating because you cannot do that. That's the thing. If Tennessee never looked like that Georgia game again, I would sit here and tell you that Vandy's going to be a cakewalk. We're better than them. We're better coached. We have better players. I can't say that with supreme confidence now because if Tennessee goes out and play their worst game, Vanderbilt's going to play one of their best. All of a sudden, you got yourself a ball game, and it's scary.
And they don't like you. No one likes you.
Yeah.
You got success, a lot a lot faster than everybody expected. Teams don't like it. South Carolina did not. They were pissed off. They got no credit. They're a 3-touchdown underdog, and they rolled in there and just bent you over. And Vanderbilt is wanting to do the same thing, and they have confidence now. They won a football game over a team that they were a 2-touchdown underdog to. Tennessee is now a 2-touchdown favorite over Vandy. They think they have a chance to come in, or you're going at their place, playing at night again. They think they have a chance to do the same thing that South Carolina did. So let's nip that in the bud. Let's get back to it. Defense, I mean, if that's not the biggest kick in the ass that I've ever seen, I mean, you either go one or two ways. You get fired up about it and do something about it, or you sulk and you just give up on the season. I don't want another Jeremy Pruitt in his first year where that team just gave up at Vanderbilt and did not care if they went to a bowl game or not.
Yeah, that will be. I don't know if I could get over
because you still have a New York 6 opportunity on the table. Sugar Bowl probably not, but I think you do have a chance to be in the Cotton Bowl or Orange Bowl or something along those lines. So still a lot to play for. Do for Hendon Hooker. I mean,
yeah, you got to have some pride about yourself next week.
Yeah.
Regardless of, I mean, those opportunities are great, and I hope we get those. But regardless, I really hope you just have some pride about it, because I don't. Last night had to be a gut check. Last night had to be. I hope everyone took one last, look around the stadium as they walked away and
remember it.
Yeah.
Also remember next year when, you notice Spencer Rattler's throwing a touchdown with 2 minutes to go, 20 points, and then you have 4 minutes to go, they're up 25, and they're throwing double moves down the sideline. I mean,
style points, baby. They need them too. Everybody needs style points.
Remember that. Again, teams don't like you. You kind of ran up the score a little bit against Missouri. I'm not saying it's wrong what Shane Beamer did, but like Tennessee was trying to impress the committee to be in college football playoff. I mean, it is what I'm going to remember it, and I'm going to bring it up when Tennessee, hammers them next year.
I don't have a problem with them doing it. I have a problem with Tennessee doing it. Tennessee's got kind of the same mentality. You had to remember it last week because, I think that had something to do with it. I think it had to, hey,
we whooped them last year.
No, yeah, but I think it was remember that team last week? We got the opportunity. We get the opportunity now. And it's one of those things that goes around, comes around. Eventually that one's going to be counted for at some point. And it's just part of it. I don't hate it. Little gamesmanship. Why not?
Yeah, get to 10 wins. That'd be the first time since 2007 to do that.
It is. You mentioned that. It is funny. No one's said anything about running up the score. And then it's also funny that if it was ever brought up, I don't care. But if it's ever brought up, people are going to act like, well, Tennessee did it first. I'm sure Tennessee was the first team to ever run up a score, but that's what they'll act like. So
yeah, it was awesome. Two totally different scenarios, in my opinion. But I get it.
Just like storming the field and acting like what Jermaine Burton did was okay because Tennessee sucks. Like there haven't been other altercations down there with other players and fans, and it's usually.
South Carolina threw some stuff on the field too after a call when they were
again
up in the game,
won't be mentioned. Tennessee only Tennessee throws trash. What you saw was, I believe it was water bottles, and I did see the ref give the water sign. So dude up in row 40 just was trying to do his job, Landon. Keep everybody hydrated.
I'm trying to water that sand a little bit, get a little tighter in there.
Pitiful. I did see someone actually tweet. They said it's a water bottle, not a mustard bottle. I was like, I don't think that matters.
Yeah, a water bottle can cost like literally nothing. At least mustard has some value. So we threw something that meant something to us.
Exactly. That was a Pro V1 Lane Kiffin got.
Yeah. Right to the dome.
$4 ball. What's up with Banks? We haven't talked about it yet.
Yeah.
I don't know. it's very strange, and apparently he is injured, but that's just convenient. Sounds like he would have probably played if there wasn't some other issue.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
And
you
this
can't
is
you can't have this late in the season. I'm
no,
sorry, like
and
you've been here way too long. You know the expectation, you know the standard, and if somebody calls you out like a starting quarterback that is also a Heisman candidate, that's literally kind of gotten you to this point in the
and a
season,
team captain.
and for you to just throw all that away and just because you got called out, that's on you. I mean, you shouldn't have played. If that is your attitude, if you'd rather put yourself before the team when all is at stake, you don't deserve to play.
Yeah, and I guess it sounds like from Austin Price there was no fight, so that part of the story may not be true, but maybe disagreements. It sounds like over I don't want to necessarily call it a team rule. That's a pretty common thing though. If you have your logo in the locker room,
Yeah.
So I mean, you can call it dumb or whatever, but I think that's a pretty well respected thing in sports. It's very annoying and frustrating, but if it didn't happen over that, it sounds like it was going to happen over something else eventually. And it's
Yeah, it seemed like he had some other issues through the week. It wasn't just this one incident that caused him to miss the football game. I don't know. Cancers in a locker room are a real thing. I'm not saying Jeremy Banks is, but if you don't handle them, they could get out of hand.
well, and that the problem too is Josh Heupel and his staff. You have to weigh what to kind of deal with and what to just brush off, and that's a tough thing to do because you can lose the locker room doing either one, and you just have to make the right decision, and the decision best for your program or what you believe to be the case. It doesn't sound like a lot of people saying that's why the defense played bad. I mean, I didn't think the actual effort was just piss poor. I mean, it obviously wasn't. It's hard sometimes to decide what's effort and what's just not being good. But I didn't think there were any glaring just effort issues.
No, and I saw a lot of stuff that said like culture, and I don't think there's anything wrong with the culture. I don't think there's anything wrong with the locker room.
Jeremy Banks has been Jeremy Banks for two different coaches.
Yeah, I mean he
It
ain't changing.
It may well be a culture issue, but we can't do it based on Jeremy Banks. That isn't the guy we get to look at and point to when we say that. And I love Jeremy Banks. I think it looks like he was making great decisions. So it's unfortunate that it sounds like a off the field reason is the reason he wasn't playing. But I mean, I still do think he's come a long way.
Yeah,
and
hopefully,
I hope he continues to grow.
Hopefully, this is another lesson for him to, you know the standard. And if you don't meet that standard, then you don't play. No matter who you are. You know, he's been in this program. He's a team. He might not be a team captain that goes to, but he's a captain. He's a captain of that defense. I think he was missed last night. You know, I don't think he's the difference in the game.
I certainly missed him.
but he was definitely missed on that defense, and it just sucks that that is a lesson. Like that's a tough lesson, And I think Josh Heupel said that after the game. He was like, "We have some guys who didn't make the trip that I hope this hurts, and I hope they come on Monday ready to go to work." And yeah, I hope that's the case. I hope he's back this week, and all is well, and no hard feelings. I mean, it just seemed like kind of a in the moment thing, I'm guessing, and it cost him.
Yeah, yep. And I'll go ahead and do my fail, I guess, real quick. Someone on TikTok, of course, just pissed me off that had a bunch of likes and comments. They said that Tennessee lying I agree with, but they said that they were essentially saying they knew Tennessee was lying because injured players don't travel, which is just not true. By the way, guys, it's very rare for an injured player to travel because they count against the 66. And then when I commented that, just to correct them, so people weren't Because if a guy doesn't travel, that's an automatic sign he's suspended. There's very different reasons you wouldn't travel. For example, I said Tillman didn't travel to LSU, which they quickly said he did, and he's traveled to many away games. He has traveled to many away games, but he didn't LSU because that's the only away game he was injured for. And that's why I was correcting it. So, yeah, I think a lot of people are reading a little too much. Like, it doesn't sound like it was the one incident that's being talked about was super egregious.
No,
It sounds like
it was
because it would, if some of the rumors were true, I think you argue it might be a culture issue. But
yeah, like people were saying that he punched Hendon Hooker and
yeah,
Joe Milton shoved him up up against the locker. Who knows what actually happened? But it doesn't seem like it was that. That was kind of blown out of proportion.
And there was also a rumor that he hit. It said quarterback. I would assume if it was, it could have been Joe Milton or Hendon Hooker. I don't know. In practice, and that started everything.
Well, and then it was over NIL stuff.
That one got floated out.
Yeah,
and I love everyone going. That's my favorite part about NIL. Well, what about the locker room? How are players going to handle it? And I was like, well, when they're in the pros, I've got news for them. Some guys are going to make a lot more money than you do. So if you can't handle that, you're in the wrong business.
Also, if anybody's arguing about Hendon Hooker and his NIL money, hey, buddy, he is leading the Heisman, which is given to the best player in college football.
Well, I mean, and also, guys, there's been money in college football locker rooms for a long time, and you don't think the players were aware of who had it?
Oh yeah.
You don't think they knew how Joe was driving a Dodge Charger, or Jimmy was driving a Hellcat? I mean,
hey, can you not use Tennessee football player names?
That was supposed to be Jimmy and Joe. Don't do that.
I know, but we do have both of those.
It's legal now. It's legal now. It's legal now. Yeah. So they know. So this isn't a new issue.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't a new issue.
Yeah. Whatever. I mean, it is what it is. It happened. It seems like it's squashed. Hopefully, it is.
I mean, Banks has commented on it and sort of, not officially, just put out on Instagram that the rumors weren't true.
Right.
I feel like if there was more to it, based on everything that people that in the know are saying, I would think the response would be different.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's not me knowing; it's me guessing. By the way, as far as what his deal is.
It seems to be squashed. Whatever. It was funny. My grandmother, before I knew Jeremy Banks, like, I knew he wasn't playing, but I didn't know he didn't travel until like after the first quarter. And when I checked my phone, and she was like, "Hey, where's Jeremy Banks?" And I said, "Probably in Knoxville with the rest of the defense," not knowing that he was actually in Knoxville.
It is a safe assumption if they know they're not playing. If game time decision, that's different. But
yeah,
if they're not playing, they're probably not traveling, because 66 is a low number I feel like for a college football team.
Yeah, with special teams and
yeah. Whatever.
Whatever, man.
Burn it all down. Fire everyone. Season's
Also, I
over.
never want
Everyone's
I never
dead.
want to see the orange helmets again. I'm sorry.
It's like the Butch, like
For a while. I don't need them for a while.
yeah, the stripes they used to have, that's fine. Let them mellow down a little bit. Like the old stripe with the checkerboard was one of my favorite things. Like, that's too beautiful to be associated with Butch Jones. Checker Nealon, which wasn't his idea, by the way, too beautiful to be associated with him or given up for it. So I feel that way about the orange helmets. Shane Beamer's gotten to take his victory lap. I don't want to give him one more victory lap.
Yeah. Also,
Don't-
like, he
don't
did
leave him
every single ad in that stadium, and he just, oh my God, his voice is awful. I hate it. It's so monotoned and just used car salesman-y.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Shane Beamer. Not me.
No.
Not a fan.
We'll say this: you won it.
You know,
won that one.
he got the best of this round for sure.
Yeah.
I think Josh Heupel might have just been playing the long game. South Carolina fans are all about Mark Satterfield, fire Mark Satterfield, blah, blah, blah. Mark Satterfield's offense scored 63 points, 606 yards, threw for 6 touchdowns. I think he played the long game. He knew he needed him around.
If I'm a South Carolina fan, I'm really pissed off
that you don't get to fire Mark Satterfield.
No, seeing that game last night and see like what could have been in that offense.
See that they sold their tickets. They didn't get to watch it in the stadium.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I had some nice seats. Thanks to those South Carolina fans that didn't want to go. I appreciate it. Yeah, that was. I mean, it bought Shane Beamer 5 more years probably. Or Mark Satterfield at least like 2 more years, I'd say, on a contract. Yeah, just playing the long game. That's it.
Whatever you got to do.
Sometimes you got to give a little, take a little, you know?
Yeah. Also, Vanderbilt could be bowl eligible if they beat Tennessee next week. So
yeah, I'm going to go with let's not let that happen.
Yeah, please. For the love of God. That's when we burn it down.
You
lose to South Carolina and Vanderbilt, you burn it down.
Have they played an FCS team? I'm sure they have. I just don't know.
I don't know.
They did have
They did beat Hawaii the first game.
Which
is basically an FCS team because they were terrible.
I'm going to assume Elon's FCS. I really don't know.
Yeah, they are.
Okay. So they needed 6. Because isn't there a way now with so many bowls that several 5 and 7 teams played? I don't think you can be bowl eligible with just 5 if you played an FCS team, I believe is the rule.
Okay.
I think they're also eligible to play a 13th game because they played Hawaii. I believe you get an extra game.
Wait, what?
Is that the rule? I feel like there's a rule about playing Hawaii. I said it out loud and it didn't sound right.
I haven't heard that before.
I think it has to do with maybe not this year. I think it has to do with travel and you get an extra bye. That would make sense. So maybe you just get an extra bye week. I can't remember. I'm about to look it up. There's some kind of weird rule, but yeah, sorry.
So let's talk about the rest of the season, I guess. I guess we kind of already discussed it. You know, obviously college football playoffs are, you know, down the drain. Sugar Bowl is probably down the drain as well. But being in a New Year's Six Bowl, I think that's something Tennessee should want to get to. They want to get to 10 wins. 10 wins is something that hasn't been done since Phil Fulmer. You know, the past coaches, that dysfunction that we had with Kiffin, Dooley, Butch, Pruitt, all that is, you know, you can surpass all those coaches by doing this right here. And I think put a stamp on, you know, what kind of season this actually was if you're able to get to that point.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I know we've talked about how bad this game was, and it was really bad, but it doesn't take away the fact that this was a great season. And I think, you know, it gave life to the program. I feel like you know, baseball's doing their thing, basketball's doing their thing. Football needed some life. And, you know, I think it got to it a little bit last year, but I think us, you know, being in the conversation, being a playoff contender, or I would say a championship contender. I'll say that. You know, if you're able to beat Alabama, yeah, you're a championship contender. I think it solidified this program that, like, you got something here. You know, I think you need some help. You need to keep building this depth. You need some transfers, probably at tight end, definitely defensive back. Maybe you look at running back. I don't really know. Safety, corner, probably linebacker as well. And see kind of what you got, because, you know, I think there's a lot of talent on this roster. But next year, there's going to be a lot of talent on that defense, but it's going to be young talent. And this coaching staff hasn't really given the green light to a bunch of freshmen, you know, in big situations. So, you know, I'm wondering, like, can some of these guys solidify themselves as a, you know, starter coming in? Or not a starter, but a significant contributor. You know, Jordan Matthews, you know, I heard that somebody told me, like, Jordan Matthews can't get on this campus fast enough.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of guys laying in wait. I'm curious next year with a better recruiting class than previous. If you do see more freshmen, and there's going to be a lot of starting positions open next year. But for this year, there's plenty ahead. I mean, there's a lot of good left ahead, and getting a win in Nashville with what's happened this week, especially with Vanderbilt's program, it's going to be a good opportunity. I just hope he bounce back. Don't fall back from this. Bounce back from it. So
Yep.
I did look it up. Hawaii. If you play in Hawaii, you get an extra regular season game. It's to offset travel costs, according to Wikipedia. So I knew I just didn't know the reason, but that's the why.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
So I'm guessing Vanderbilt isn't. Are they going to do that?
They're not. I don't know how that works. If you could schedule it after the fact,
Okay.
You would have to find a team, I guess, that hasn't played 12 games or is in that Hawaii rule that hasn't utilized the Hawaii rule.
Interesting.
I would love to see it. That would be awesome if they somehow scheduled a game to try and get bowl eligible. That would be incredible. And it would be awesome in a funny way if they lost that game.
Yeah. That's rough.
So Tennessee, I need you to win this one for a couple of reasons. One of them being,
are we still checkering Vandy?
Yeah, for real. That fell flat on his face, didn't it? God.
Yeah, that's rough. We did get some good news today. In between the game and the Hendon Hooker news, 3-star running back Khalifa Keith out of Birmingham, Alabama, committed to Tennessee. Decommitted from Kentucky a couple weeks ago, and made the decision to come to Tennessee. He had 1,800 yards last season, 28 touchdowns. I think he's around 700 yards and 9 touchdowns this season. So not as much production, but I don't think that season has concluded yet. I don't even know if these stats are updated from 2022. Miami, Kentucky, Mississippi State, Florida State are some of his offers. So, I think Tennessee likes him. He is a kind of a bigger back, 6'1", 225. That's something they want to, get on campus. They lose Will Stallings and then they add Khalifa Keith. I mean, read between the lines.
Yeah. That one's exciting because you saw when he decommitted from Kentucky, that was a good sign for Tennessee.
Yep.
That's exciting. I know that sound. I just said how exciting that was in the most just monotone voice. I am very sad, by the way. Me and Landon went to the game.
Yeah, this is my fault.
I'll own it. I did leave early. I don't normally leave early. One of the reasons is it was, I won't lie, it was cold. That helped the reasoning. But last time I went to South Carolina, I didn't know how cold it was going to be. We were freezing. We decided to leave when we were down, and Josh Dobbs led that comeback in 2014. That was incredible. It's I tried my best. I had to try something.
Yeah, it wasn't as cold as I thought it was going to be. But I did like the stadium. It's probably been my, I think that stadium's definitely a lot nicer than LSU's. No offense.
Not nicer, yes.
Yes.
Well, especially
I didn't think it was that loud though.
No,
the crowd was in it, but it wasn't just like.
I don't know how loud that field or that stadium can get. It's just real open.
Yeah.
And I don't know I know Auburn has the spiral tunnels or spiral walkway. Georgia does. I don't know if anyone else in the SEC. That was pretty cool. I don't know if people just prefer to stand there over standing in the stands, or if they sell standing room only tickets right there. That's cool. That was cool. That people. Yeah. It looks like you're just packing the stadium in. Mm-hmm. So if you have them, why not do it? That was cool. It was a great environment. Credit to South Carolina and their fans. Sandstorm, I'm not going to sit here and act like it's one of the coolest things in college sports, but it's cool.
It is cool.
Especially
I envy that we don't have anything like that.
Yeah. Rocky Top's cool.
It is cool, but
when Rocky Top, I would argue we do have something like that, because when Rocky Top, after a big touchdown or in a big game, It's insane how loud it is. When we sang it before the kickoff at Alabama, we sang so loud you could not hear the band playing. I thought we just started it without the
We
band.
probably
They're like, we got to catch up, boys. Let's go.
did. Yeah.
How did you end up taking a picture with a band member? I've never seen. If you want to know how much of a band podcast this is, we love the band, BAND, band. Landon,
Yeah, I
got-
found some.
he got a picture with the band like you would see someone getting a picture with Hendon Hooker at the mall.
Yeah, I did it. They were actually in line to get like a pretzel or something.
Did you pick up the tab?
No, I did not. I just
You could have just lied and said it. Why not?
I actually
man.
like. No, I can't even make up something. Damn it. No. I
Regardless,
didn't do
you-
anything. I just hopefully it made their day that I want to take a picture with them.
Yeah, that's probably the first time ever that a band member has been asked to get a picture taken by an adult.
yeah.
So that you made their day. Someone
I
had
did
to.
I did say go
Boss one.
Pride.
Go Pride.
Yeah.
Nice, dude. You're an ally. Love it.
Oh man. What a weird weekend in college football.
Well, that's when after watching Baylor Baylor TCU, Michigan, Illinois, as soon as those games ended, I said, well, that is very unfortunate because someone's going to get upset this week.
Yep.
And it looks like it's going to be Tennessee now.
Everybody else kind of squeaked by,
Yeah.
but Tennessee got the
Yeah.
short end of the stick for that one.
Well, that's another. Maybe it's my fault. I was giving South Carolina too much credit. I think before the game, South Carolina fans, as far as just out and about, like I ran into some at the hotel. We went bowling Friday night. It was a lot of fun. A bunch of them there, and all of the ones that we talked to were really nice to me. They were really complimentary of Tennessee, and they weren't giving themselves any credit. And I just kind of boost them up. Like I think they're going to play good. It's going to be a good environment. I think it could be a game. I was right. And all the South Carolina fans that I talked to were very wrong. So
Yeah, and
I'm sorry.
it's hard to like keep receipts and stuff when you're not giving your team any credit.
Right.
But I mean, that's what sucks about having like a team like that. Like people just have to swarm our mentions.
Oh yeah.
Georgia fans, I don't know why they continue to talk about Tennessee, but they do. They won 16-6. Good for them. I mean, but yeah, it's kind of annoying. I'm like, guys, y'all beat us. Like, why are you so obsessed?
Yeah, it's very, very strange. I do it's one of those things I wish we could all just collectively ignore them. I think that's the best route, but it is annoying to see on my timeline.
I used to could tell the difference between Alabama fans and Georgia fans. Now there's like zero difference. They're all the same.
One's just barking.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the only difference.
Mhm.
Both wear red.
Yeah. One you can't understand, the other one's just barking. So
I
that's
will
how you
say,
feel.
I speaking of Alabama fans, I empathize with Harvey Updike now. If South Carolina had some trees, I was ready to poison them last night, and they're not even our rivals. That was going to be my move. Of
I got
action.
in the car with Jesse's uncle. And I
They're
was
lucky.
like,
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but they are lucky that big cock out front is not removable. That thing would have been going home with me.
I love like before the game, I was like, "Hey, do you know there's a giant cock behind you?" I do have a story. I did the fattest thing I've ever done in my entire life.
Wait, what
on
happened with
Saturday.
Jesse's uncle? I interrupted that story, and I want to
Oh,
hear.
okay. So I
It's
got in
very
the
funny guy.
car. I got in the car and he was like, "Man," he's like, "If all our stuff wasn't at the Airbnb, he's like, I'd go straight home right now." I was like, "I would actually love nothing more if we just went home."
It was a long drive back. It was only 3 hours for me, and it was long.
Yeah. He also said, he's like, "If I see a Taco Bell or Wendy's, I'm gonna tear that shit up."
I went to Taco Bell last night,
Did you? Damn.
and it was closed, so we went to Wendy's.
N-
Shout out Johnny Mitch for driving me.
we
I was in no shape to drive.
No, I wasn't either. But I sat in the front seat. I don't know why they made me sit in the front seat. I felt so bad. But I got in the front seat and I was like, "Dude, if you pull in, like I'm smashing that too." Like we were so ready. He was like,
You
"If I
said-
see one, we're going."
You said
saw
Taco
Wendy's.
Bell. You
we
didn't.
we saw both. They were right next to each other. It
Were they
just happened to
close?
say they were packed. It was
Oh.
it was lined out to the road. So
Dang.
yeah. But luckily Jesse walked back to the Airbnb and went to CVS and got DiGiorno pizza. So he had some pizza waiting on us.
Dude, Jesse's the best.
He is
I
the
love
best.
that man.
I also don't understand why it was 3.5 miles he walked.
That's Jesse. That's what he does.
God. It took him like over an hour to walk back.
Were y'all downtown?
Close to downtown. It was like a suburb.
So we parked downtown last time I went, and that walk was brutal.
Yeah.
Because I just didn't know. I wasn't familiar with Columbia and Williams-Brice at all.
Yeah.
And we went to park, and we got into the lot right behind the stadium, like actual fairgrounds. They let us in. You need a pass. They didn't check ours. We just went in. And then fair, like if it was my car, I would have done the same thing. Adam didn't want to park there because it looked like there were assigned parking. So he didn't want to park in someone's spot and get towed or ticketed or whatever, which I was just like, do it. Just, we got in. It's free.
Yeah.
So we ended up paying $50, but it was right next to the stadium.
Okay, so the fattest thing I've ever done in my life. When we broke off, me and you, when we broke off, I went back because I was on the opposite side of the stadium. I'm walking through where everybody's been tailgating to get to the parking spot where Jesse's family was. And man, I was on a sidewalk and I just look over and there's just it's table and it's just got this big bin and it's filled with food.
Did it say invite only?
No.
Okay. There was a big tailgate right on the sidewalk, right next to where we parked.
No, we're
okay.
Jesse and them parked. So walk by it, there's just a table. It's like it's in the grass a little bit, but it's like I could just hop over to this table. And there's no one around it, and it's just filled with food. I'm like, man, that looks good. And it was just sliders and hot dogs and chicken tenders. So I was like, So I grabbed the chicken tender and I ate it, or I took a bite. It was freezing cold, like just ice cold. And like I just kept walking. I was like, man, that was pretty good. I get like maybe 15 yards away, and I'm like, dude, I want more of that. And I went back and got 3 sliders and another chicken tender and a bag of chips and took it back. And
You walked back. You walked back to that tailgate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is fat. Yeah, okay, that is fat. That the first part of that story had nothing fat about it, but
everything was just ice cold. But I was so hungry.
I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't have done it, but it's fat for sure.
Yeah. Even's like, you raided somebody's tailgate. I'm like,
not only raided. You're like the what are the animals in Bug's Life? What are they that they come and they make them harvest for them?
Oh yeah, I don't know.
What kind of animal are they?
I haven't seen that in a long time.
Yeah, I can't remember the type of bug. You're like that one. You better I'm gonna come back and you better have food for me.
I feel like they put it out so people would do that.
I think so. Yeah, I think if you leave it out like that, they would have just thrown it away or put it in the car.
Right.
Because they wouldn't have left it outside
yeah.
for the raccoons to pillage and land in.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, as soon as I took the chicken tender, I was waiting for somebody to say, hey, can I help you? Or something like that. And no one said anything. And I had to come back. I was like, God.
They probably would have loved it. South Carolina, obviously every fan base has some. But overall, South Carolina fans have always been very nice to me.
Dude, I saw a tailgate. There was a tailgate next to us, and this person had like a fake like cattle, and they like put it in the grass and were just roping it. Like that was like their game that they had. Their roping cattle.
Seems strange.
Yeah, I mean that seems more like
That does seem like a drinking game in the sense of like we just want to drink.
Right. Also, like, I mean, that thing took up so much room in your tailgate. I'm like, why didn't you You could just do a foldable table and some cups. Let's do
I like
basic
it.
for you.
Very weird, but I like
Yeah.
it. I like it. Sad day.
Um,
All right. Are we gonna talk about it more? Or are we good?
Yeah, we're good. I was just gonna talk about some games in college football.
Yeah, I could
if
do
you
that.
want.
Go do that.
TCU Baylor. I mean, I was mad before the game, but I mean, it doesn't matter
What an
now.
ending. Why did
Um,
Baylor not just keep subbing? Because
Why didn't-
wouldn't have the umpire had to stand over the ball longer, or did he stand over it at all?
I don't think so. I don't understand why Baylor, like, they had the ball the last two drives and just went 3 and out both times, just ran it up the middle every single time and took off like hardly any. That the last time they had the ball, I mean, TCU just called 3 timeouts. I'm just like, what are y'all doing? Like, y'all have been moving the football. Why are you not doing something to try to move the chains? Throw it a little bit.
Yeah, it was not a. I mean, what TCU did was incredible, but not a graceful finish by Baylor for sure.
I mean, TCU they always find a way. I got to give them credit. They always find a way. It's ugly, but they always find a way. I did win some money this weekend. I did do well.
I didn't win any money.
Really?
Yeah, the umpire never stood over the ball. Like, I mean, for a split second. He stood as soon as the field goal team was set. I don't know what the substitution rule is. I don't know how. I thought it was just if you sub X, you immediately have to take 6 seconds, for example. I don't know if that's the number, but I thought that was it. So, see if I can figure that out real quick. Yeah, I was a little baffled by that, but I don't think Dave Aranda, is that his name?
Yeah.
I don't think he said anything about it. So
So
I feel like he would have.
Did you
if that was
take?
wrong.
You took Auburn, didn't you?
Or
did you forget to put it in?
I don't think. I'd have to check. I think I only placed 2 bets, and it was TCU, which I thought was going to be an emotional hedge, so I was fine with it. But then they win
and didn't cover.
Win by 1. Yeah. I didn't consider that possibility.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was brutal. And then I took Ole Miss. I mean, what? This is all Lane Kiffin's fault. He said go Vols this year, and it's all Lane Kiffin's fault.
Yeah, I went 4-2 this week. I lost the two that you said, Ole Miss, TCU. I won LSU. I won Oregon, and I won Auburn. And then I put a bet in Auburn to win and TCU to win, and that hit too. So 4-2. I think I won like a unit and a half. So pretty good weekend, considering.
Yeah.
Considering what we had to go through, but USC, UCLA 48-45. USC, it looks like they're going to be number 4 next week. What about Alabama 34-0 over Austin Peay? That just doesn't seem enough.
Yeah, so the pro rule is the defense has to be ready, I guess. If you sub, you have to allow time for the defense to be ready. There's not a given time.
Also, Miami's still like terrible. Like, why do people want to go to Miami?
Miami's
they
never
are
going to be
so
good.
bad.
Mario Cristobal is not good.
They got beat 40-10 by a terrible Clemson team. UNC went down. Got beat by Georgia Tech 21-17. North Carolina didn't score a single point in the second half. Also, so Jesse's uncle Jake was telling me that Texas A&M, it was like, was it 10-3 or 10-0 at halftime? Or not? Who did I say?
I'm
Texas,
not sure.
Texas A&M and UMass.
Oh yeah. Oh
yeah.
Gosh.
UMass is like 1-9. Texas A&M is up, and at halftime they did like an aerial view, I guess, of the stadium, and like it was empty. Like everybody had just like left.
It was bad.
Jimbo out.
how do you look at? I mean, I guess you sold the tickets, so it's not that bad. But how do you look at that and have any pride about yourself if you're A&M? I get it's hard to show up for those games, but and I love that it's cold. Why would we do this? And I'm thinking, I've sat through many of Tennessee beatdowns in the cold. I've sat through many Tennessee playing UMass types in the cold, and so have other 60,000 Tennessee fans. So I just don't get it. I don't understand that aspect of fans. But
Yeah. I don't know. Really weird. But yeah, weird. Michigan squeaked by Illinois. Michigan, 1917. They kicked a game-winning field goal too, didn't they?
who was that?
Yeah.
Sorry,
Michigan.
was it a field goal? I thought they just scored late. I can't remember now.
I'm looking.
I'm looking it up. I'm also trying to find this up.
Field goal.
Field goal, yes. Theirs was. Oh God, he stroked that. Yes, I do remember that one now.
Just bad.
Bad day to be a Tennessee fan, Cos.
Yeah.
Real bad day.
Most important.
Sure, why not? I'm trying to get fired up. It's hard.
It is kind of hard to find a most important. Oh, the Ecuador fans today. Did you see this?
No.
They were chanting Queremos Cerveza.
Sure. Oh, is that the we want beer, we need beer?
Yeah, we want beer.
We talk about how dumb that is. That is, which I'm not shocked by it. I know a lot of people are like, "Can you believe this?" I mean, I can believe it.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's not. I guess believe it in the right word, but insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
You got any most importance?
Tennessee baseball currently ranked at the top of the 2024 recruiting class. Bailey Spot Perfect. Are there a bunch of? I know there's a bunch of services. I guess Perfect Game though is the most respected.
Yeah,
Or
there's
is baseball. What's the other one that's big time?
Baseball America.
Is it Baseball America? Which one? There was one that had us ranked absurdly, like 36 last year. I thought that was Baseball America when I started saying that.
So that's a ranking. Like, are you talking about recruiting rankings?
Yeah, but I just figured that if your rankings are terrible, your recruiting rankings probably aren't super strong either.
So there's one. It was like it's like a magazine of some sort. I don't think they have recruiting rankings, but they do like rankings every week, like a weekly.
Gotcha.
thing. I forget who that is off the top of my head, but yeah, Vitello effect.
We need him in the halftime, in the locker room at halftime.
Need somebody. Fail.
Me going to South Carolina.
Mine's Texas A&M. So you know how all the players like go to the opposite end zone and like do a prayer, like that's just a thing now. Well, Texas A&M fired a cannon and it went off like right next to these players.
I need to put an actual cannonball in those things.
Yeah.
I mean, we have fireworks. Why can we not have?
Ooh, speaking of that, that's another one. So Fox College Football said the Gamecocks are legit too lit. And it said they ran out of fireworks last night. And the guy who shot off the fireworks was like, "That's not true. I shot the fireworks for this game, and you literally made that up."
I did watch the replay. I haven't got to that part of the full game. They never went off in the replay of the touchdown.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just what he said. So
yeah, no, I do believe him. I'm just trying to figure out when they went off.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Because Chris made a joke. he made the joke that they ran out of fireworks. He obviously said it just tongue in cheek because they didn't go off right after, like when the light show started. They didn't go off.
And did you see where somebody's like an Arkansas fan stole an Ole Miss player's helmet?
I couldn't decide, so I had that one. I was going to segue it because I didn't know if it was most important or a fail because I have a lot of questions. How did he end up in possession of the helmet?
I have no clue.
Because he is.
Was it thrown?
That it looks like there's a pretty good buffer between. I mean, in fact, so much of a buffer that it looks like there's a platform higher than the field, then the stands. So I'm very confused how he got it. I guess props to him, some Mission Impossible stuff.
Yeah.
And then the fact that I don't know who it was for Ole Miss goes into the stands to chase him. He doesn't get far. They pulled him back over the rail, but the fact that he tried to chase him, honestly, I love that move.
I love that I mean, obviously, like, that's not something you can just hide.
Yeah, you're not getting out of the stadium with it. Why try?
Yeah.
There's not a lot of logic. Or we need an update to that story.
Yeah.
I'm assuming at the bare minimum, he got arrested for public intoxication. At the bare minimum. Yeah, not worth that. No,
yeah,
and then
if
you do
not
if
an
you
Ole
do
Miss
have
helmet.
it, right? And if you do have it, well, what about those Realtree helmets? I mean, Realtree stuff's expensive.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, if you do have it, I mean, you're probably gonna be identified in the video if you did get away from it. But if you do have it, you can't show it off. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what the move is. Also, I did hear about the Brew McCoy helmet. I heard the story. Maybe I shouldn't out Brew McCoy, but who cares? If anyone in the Tennessee, it's dumb, all the stuff that got quote unquote stolen, but some of them were funny. The helmet I feel like is funny, so if anyone gets upset about this. So apparently the guy that got the helmet, he asked for it from Brew. He didn't steal it. And he was like, no, man, I can't give that to you. And he's like, just tell them someone took it and you don't know. That's believable. And he was like, all right, but you got to leave right now. And so the guy put the helmet on and left. So he didn't even stay on the field for the whole celebration. He listened to Brew and got the heck out of there.
That's awesome. Good for Brew. He's like, I'm just not dealing with this. Go ahead. I don't care. Also, did you see Justin Fields try to sidearm?
Yes,
pass
just
today?
Domed that guy.
His offensive tackle got domed right in the back of the head.
I mean, for a split second, he had to be like, what the hell just...
Yeah, don't.
Did you see what Peter Burns said to Ben Watson?
Yeah, is that...
No, it's not.
That's
real.
staged,
It's,
right? Okay.
Yeah, the incident after was definitely staged. Because I love that Clay Travis is acting like ESPN's doing a cover-up job of it. I don't know who it is. I'd have to look. But one of the guys is cackling when he comes back. If there was an altercation on set, I'm gonna go with he wasn't laughing. Immediately.
And they probably don't come back from break like that.
Yeah, they can cut somewhere else if they need to. But
yeah.
Dude, so you're either saying if it wasn't staged, you're saying that one guy's a great actor for keeping up to make it look like a bit. I think Ben he may have been upset about it, but I don't think him and Peter Burns got into an altercation.
Yeah.
It was funny. Credit to Peter Burns.
Yeah, I liked it.
I love that some people were like, don't go after his wife. I was like, I mean,
that's just bros. Guys just do that.
And I mean, if they weren't friends, then I'm definitely sure he didn't appreciate it. But if they are friends, those jokes have probably been said before. He didn't. Right. It wasn't.
It's also it's kind of a compliment. If somebody's making a joke like that about your wife, that means your wife's probably hot.
I'd make it about.
So good for Ben Watson.
Yeah, no, I thought it was hilarious personally.
We make fun of Brody. We talk about his mom like kisses us on the mouth last night, and
yeah, she puts tongue in, man. I was like, whoa, Julie. I told Emily that, and she was like, She goes, are you serious? I was like, no, Emily, I'm not serious.
But we wouldn't make that joke if she wasn't hot.
Unless Brody's watching, then I am serious. She did kiss me and put a little tongue in there.
Right.
I'm out of back. I don't know.
Oh.
I didn't say I did.
One last fail. So Vanderbilt rushed the field, got fined $250,000, and it was the worst storming of all time.
Who cares?
They were just walking.
I sent 2 Venmos to someone I know that is a Vanderbilt fan. I meant to just send one to like buy shots.
You sent 2?
I was a little not myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
You were back.
I mean,
in
you were
Knoxville
there.
too.
You saw me.
Yeah. That's all I got, man.
That's it too.
Rough.
Wait. Fail. So I shared
Oh.
obviously the Arkansas one. I think there's one more, and the Peter Burns one. I'll just go with the World Cup. I'm not excited because the Tennessee's gonna suck too.
Tennessee.
Or Tennessee, yes. If they were playing in the World Cup, yes. U.S. men's national team. It's gonna not be fun.
So apparently we get the next World Cup. USA does?
2026 will be in the United States.
Cool. We're gonna go to Atlanta.
We're go. I mean, you can go with us. Yeah, we're going to a game.
Okay, I'd like to go. Just
I
experience
think
it.
what we're going to do is we're going to go to. You'll probably don't want to do the second half. We're going to go to one U.S. game, group stage, and then I think what we're going to try to do is go to, whether it's U.S. or not. If U.S. is playing a close game in the knockout rounds, we'll try to go. But we do want to go to like a semifinal or quarterfinal, something like that, just to have like a cool World Cup experience. We would like to go to a final, but we doubt that's possible.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It should be fun. Guys, that's all we got. Thanks for listening. Sorry it was kind of depressing, but we'll be back on Thursday talking about Vandy and some basketball. Because basketball is officially back.
Yep.
And Tennessee plays in the Bahamas on Wednesday. So,
the women beat Rutgers. Did they play again today? They did.
yeah, they beat,
struggled. Yeah,
UCLA.
I didn't see the game, but they struggled. Or I didn't watch the game.
Yeah, not a great start to the season from the Lady Vols, but
Nope.
hopefully that gets better. Hopefully your week gets better. We're bringing the boat in, and we out.